Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboy Nation? What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag. There's Kelly. Just in the nick of time, we get this thing going. But we got a great show. I already told Kelly before the show. It's gonna be my eyes are gonna be wandering. I'm looking at the Miami game right now. It's 20-27. So I got to work some double duty here. So bear with me, Kelly.
I got you, man. You're watching the Heat game. You got your mind on the Heat and the Nuggets, and I got my mind on vacation.
Yeah.
A little crack of the cold one right there. So we're less than 24 hours from departure down to the great old state of Texas. So I'm getting in the mood here, sipping me a cold one.
That's awesome. Well, we'll take one from the Cowboys can fan. Crack them if you got them, right?
That's all right. Yes, sir. Crack them if you got them.
So, no, we're going to have some fun. Want to get a couple things out of the way. First, my man, Mark, hey, that's a man of his word. He sent me the snapshot. He's got the Heat hat on the way. I was hoping it would arrive today. I would have been rocking it. Tonight for the game with the jersey in his honor. But actually, we're rocking something better. We got the Cuts by Jones hat. I got to make sure I get it right. I always look the wrong way. And Fred is doing an awesome thing. He's our first, I said, unofficial sponsor of the show.
That's right. Right.
But we love him. He's a Cowboy Nation. He's family, and he does awesome work. So he's going to do a special promotion during the season. We got to figure it out, Kelly. You and I got to talk. You're going to be with him, next week. So you guys maybe figure out how we want to do it, how we want to promote it, what kind of contest we want to do. But it's going to be some good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. If you ain't seen him, if you don't know him, if you don't follow him on Twitter, Cuts by Jones does great work, really great work. You can go to his page and you can see all the stuff he does. I'm gonna be there with him, chopping it up in his man cave on Saturday night with some other of Cowboys Nation. So we'll have a little video that I'll put together, a little something. We'll probably drop a video on Twitter, show some of his stuff. He's got some amazing cuts. And yes, we're going to do some promotions later on in the season to get you guys involved where you can win one of these cuts with a promo that we're doing. It's an awesome piece for a man cave. Hang it anywhere in your house and it's going to look great because he does great work. So Cuts by Jones, guys, if you ain't already following him on Twitter, go give the man a follow. And as always, thank you for supporting, like, subscribe, share, get this out there and, continue to help us blow up this Cowboys man cave and take this thing to a whole nother level.
No, absolutely. And, I told you sometimes I do some cameos. So I did a cameo just for the show. I don't want to give all of it away because maybe they watch the channel but every now and then I get these really cool ones. And it's kind of the ones where you kind of, I charge 18 or 19 bucks. And by the time Apple and all them get it, I think I make like 10 bucks. But if you ever watch them, man, you see my do the hype video. I do the same thing. I mean, I have, I write all the notes down and all that. But I had one where I won't say any names, but, it was kind of, they wanted me to do a special announcement. And it was someone whose name, his father named him after the Cowboys, and he passed away and never got a chance to see the Cowboys. His father passed away, never got a chance to see the Cowboys play live. Big Cowboys fan. So the aunt was doing a special trip for them to go to a Cowboys game and wanted me to kind of announce it and get them hyped up for all of that. So it was awesome. It was really good. It was special. So I love doing those cameos, man. Those are the fun ones when you get those. I've done some crazy ones, but whenever you get those ones that mean something, it's like, man, I wish I could just delete the fun thing. But I told them to definitely give me a holler if they're on social media, and I'll hook them up with something, or try and see if I can find something to make it even more special on game day for them. Unfortunately, it's a game I'm not going to, so
yeah. Well, those are cool, man, and you give the people a little piece of yourself, and hey, man, you work hard at the hype videos. I have to contain myself sometimes. Every once in a while, if I'm really hype and I'm going through a door, I want to do do a couple like slap shit when I'm coming through the door. I mean, but I don't think anybody can do it quite like Mike. But I give it a try. You know what I mean? Come through the door pumped up. Tomorrow, that's how I'm gonna walk out of work. I'm gonna do the double leg slap. Whoa!
No, I tell you, ain't nothing better than going on vacation, man. And when it's that last day, you kind of ain't even working. That Friday, you're kind of half into it. You're not even paying attention. So
yeah, it's gonna be hard to focus in tomorrow. So
yeah. Hopefully it goes by fast.
Hopefully, just kind of like this off season. Let's hope that this off season continues to roll. I'm seeing these OTAs and I'm seeing the guys in uniforms and there's no pads on yet. But I mean, just seeing some of the still shots and seeing some of that, man, is starting to get the juices flowing.
It does. It
starting
does.
to really get you.
Did you see the McCarthy press conference? Did you watch any of it?
I got to see a little. I got to see a couple of clips, just some stuff on Twitter. I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
I'm gonna play one part of it, get some reaction. Then we're gonna get into kind of some of the positional preview. A little early for it, but it's off season. We're trying to fill up time, and it's so hard to get it. But this was McCarthy. This kind of goes out. I think it says something, but it's probably for Ultra too. So make sure you can hear it. Let's see.
Again, very early.
You hear that?
Talk about the players. The jump players making their second year. How have Sam Williams and Jalen Tolbert specifically done this all season? What are you seeing from them?
Two excellent examples, both Jalen and Sam. I mean, Sam is really came on, for us, and more opportunities that he was given in his rookie year, the more productive he was. So you can see his comfort and what we're asking to do, and the ability to schematically, move around is, some of the things that the defensive staff is doing. And Sam's, I've been impressed with Sam so far for the first three installs. And Jalen has made some really nice plays, particularly, in the 2 minute 7-on-7 and 2 minute situations. So I think both those guys are definitely making that jump.
So, that's talking about Tolbert and Williams making that second year jump. And we're going to get into those positions. But for Tolbert, I think it's a little more what you want, right? That fourth receiver. And I think you put a tweet out about it. So that's why I wanted to make sure I covered it, because I think you talked about Tolbert a little bit. And then you got Sam Williams. I mean, he wants double-digit sacks. I mean, he wants at least 10+ sacks. So, and I think with the opportunities that he's going to get, it's going to be there. And you look at like a Parsons, and they talked about it too. How great can Parsons be? And one thing that McCarthy said was, he's I don't know how you get much better, but where he really is going to get even better and better is when you see the players around him being able to elevate their game because of what he does. Because teams can't focus. They focus so much on attention on him. It's going to leave one-on-ones, or it's going to leave situations. So. It's just good things, man. When I hear McCarthy, I'm telling you, I just think he's a great coach for this team. I think he's the right guy for the team. His mentality and his demeanor and everything is good. But any takeaways from kind of what he said there, or maybe even anything you heard?
Well, I mean, second year jump for Sam Williams, second year baby steps for Tolbert, because, well, really, I mean, actually, it may be a leap for Tolbert too, because just him getting on the field is going to be elite. So with Tolbert, man, you just want to see him get on the field. You want to see him get some. I'm not expecting anything huge from him, but like I said, I mean, if we're to get, a 700-yard, 4 or 5 touchdown season is what I tweeted out. If we were to get something like that from Tolbert at the number 4 spot, it would be huge, man.
That'd be amazing at a 4 spot. It'd be amazing. I think at those key. I think if you get those key conversions, although he could be that guy, that can make some. Maybe he's a red zone. Like remember Laurent Robinson?
Yeah,
Cowboy. He just came out of nowhere. All he did was score touchdowns.
Yep.
I mean, he was just there, and I think double-digit touchdowns with Romo. And if he could kind of be that guy, because he's going to get the least amount of attention, so in crucial plays he could be that guy. I think it's huge for the Cowboys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, getting some production out of him, even if it's, because from a number 4, obviously you're not expecting big production. That would be big production if you're getting,
Yeah.
close to 700 yards. But, I'm looking forward to something from him more than what we saw last year. So anything's going to be better than what we saw last year. Sam Williams is where I have the most optimism just because, in his first year, I thought he exceeded expectations. I thought he flashed because a lot of people talked about his liability in the run game. How much time was he going to get on the field with the pass rushers that we had? Obviously, we saw that he got plenty of time on the field, and I think in this league, you can never have too many pass rushers because having a bevy of pass rushers is a good thing. So having a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, having a guy like Sam Williams stepping in, having a guy like Micah Parsons that you can throw out there, and then add a couple of other guys in the mix that can also get after the passer, whether that be through the interior with Ozua rushing. We can get there's different guys that can step up and rush, but when you've got guys on both sides that you can line up on either side of the line, and if they're doubling one guy, well, then that's creating a mismatch nightmare for the other side, then that's a good thing. And I think that's what we could have this year with Williams, with Lawrence, with Parsons. Like, I think it's going to create a lot of matchup nightmares for offensive coordinators, man, and blocking these guys up. And Sam Williams, I do expect him to have a double-digit sack season. I don't think that that's a stretch by any means. I could see that guy ending up with, 11, 12 sacks this season. And if we could have 3 guys on the team, I know a lot of, Bud here was talking about, having 3,000-yard receivers right now. Now, how nice would it have to have 3 double-digit sack guys? You know what I mean? Having a Lawrence get double-digit sacks, have a guy like Sam Williams, have a guy like Parsons end up with double-digit sacks. Now, that would be great. You know what I mean? To get become a nightmare for these quarterbacks and then be scared of that pass rush with this Dallas Cowboys defense would be a great thing. So both of those things are encouraging. And I don't think Mike McCarthy is a guy that just throws things around just to say it. I don't think he talks just to hear himself talk. I think if he's saying it, he's seeing it. So that should be encouraging for Cowboys fans.
Yeah, no, and I think he kind of answered maybe any questions or any doubt as far as what they were going to do with Parsons, just being a edge rusher the whole time. He said, in this press conference, you don't want him in the same spot. You don't want you want him. You don't want teams to be able to scheme him, knowing that he's coming from one side. You want him coming from the middle, coming all over, coming on the left, coming on the right, blitzing, doing all different things. So I think they're going to move him around and really try and, Quinn's going to, play that chess with him a little bit and just try and get the right matchup. So yeah, it's definitely encouraging. And I just wish this damn season gets started, man, and get training camp going. Because it's just, they call it the dog days of summer, right? With baseball. This is the dog days of summer for us, and it's exciting. So what we wanted to do is maybe do some position reviews. God, I don't know how we might not have enough time, or maybe we'll be here the whole game. But looking at the NFC East and just trying to figure out how do we stack up on the East. I think there's a lot of obvious questions, right, Keller? A lot of obvious answers. But for fun, and I will say I started doing this to try and make it easier to make a board, but I started going through and I'm like, dude, I don't know. Some of these guys, are they starters now? They drafted guys? Did they? So I started with the offense. I gave up on the offense. So we'll start with the offense, and the defense we could talk through it. So let's see what we got. Looking at the quarterbacks, that's easy. You got Dak, you got Hurts, Daniel Jones. I think Sam Howell's going to be the guy for Washington? I think he'll be the guy for Washington. So, when you're looking at that, what is, and we definitely need some help in the chat for it and want your guys' opinion. You got a quarterback. If you're ranking them, what's your ranking, Kelly? What do you think?
In my opinion, man, and I know I'm gonna get people that are gonna say that I'm only saying this because I'm a Cowboys fan, but in my opinion, I know that Hurts had the run that he made in the postseason, but look at the numbers that he put up, and I'm not saying anything that because I'm not one of those guys that just looks at the numbers, because obviously Hurts did some things to help his team win. He didn't turn over the ball. I still like Dak as the better quarterback. I think he's a more rounded quarterback. I think that he is a better passer of the ball than Hurts is. I think Hurts uses his legs to set up the pass. I think the opposite with Dak. I think Dak is always looking to pass.
Yeah.
So I got Dak as number 1. I got Hurts number 2. You could put him 1A, 1B. You could flip flop them. I wouldn't be mad with that. Then I'm gonna go Daniel Jones, and then obviously Howell. But with Hurts, the thing is that he had a great season last year. I need to see it again this year, though. I need to see him do that again for a second year, because his first year was pedestrian as fuck. Dak hasn't really had a pedestrian year. His first year, he came in and he threw 23 touchdowns, led his team to a 13-3 record. And granted, he may have had better talent around him than Hurts had his first year, but it wasn't like Hurts was dealing with exactly bums. They still had Goddard. They still had Smith as a wide receiver. They still had Miles Sanders. Like, they still had some weapons on that team, offensively and defense. It's not like Hurts was dealing with nothing. So I need to see it for multiple years from Hurts before I start supplanting Dak, who has dominated the NFC East throughout his career. Dominated. Yeah. So that's how I see it personally. But like I said, I get when people say Hurts just because what they seen last year, what he did last year, ended up in the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to be mad if somebody flip-flops him. I can't argue that too hard, but for me personally, it's Dak.
Well, I'm gonna give my opinion, but I think we have a caller. Are you
all
on?
Right?
You there?
Mike? Yes, I am, sir.
How are you? I didn't get a chance to catch your name. You caught me off guard. Who's
That's
on the line?
Okay, Mike. It's Scott Knutson. I just had to jump in here to say hi to you and Kelly.
Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, Scott?
How you doing, boss? Welcome back from your vacation, and then the best of wishes to Kelly as he's headed out on the road to do his. So hope you guys have been living right.
No, I did. Well, no complaints on mine. When you do the Bahamas trip on a cruise, it's I put on a few pounds. I got a suntan and all that stuff. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I just got a diet.
That's all right. Listen, I didn't want to steal your thunder here, guys, because I know you're probably going to go in order, so forgive me. So maybe you can keep my comments in mind when you get to the wide receiver spot.
Yeah.
As it relates to Twitter, and Kelly and I have had this conversation before, when you try to be a good, astute Cowboys fan and, educate those that may not be as up to speed on things. But my thought being is we have to stop all the talk about the wide receiver room right now, my personal opinion, because, Hopkins talk is always going to be out there until he signs with somebody. The bottom line is, as far as money matters and what they have going on with a collection of young talent, I personally don't believe they need an Andre Hopkins at $15 million, where they can look a little bit else. And I think there's some surprises that are still going to be out there on the open market, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or defense. And you just try to tell folks, I know the name brings a lot of name recognition, right? He had been linked to working out with Dez and everybody. I get all that. But I think their wide receiver room, just what you talked about with Tolbert and how Mike McCarthy sees them, the addition of Cooks, I think they're just fine. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to get in deep on it, but I would agree with you, but I don't want to drag it too much, so we'll definitely hold it and definitely appreciate you calling, man, and supporting the channel.
All right, boys, you have a good one. Love you both.
All right, man.
Hey, man, appreciate the support.
All right. Well, that's that's a real fan, because I didn't even put the number out yet.
He already knew. He had it programmed. That's good.
That's on speed dial. Yeah. But I see a lot of Dak stuff, and I definitely want to get the receivers, because I definitely have some thoughts on what he said, and I'm sure you do too.
For sure, yeah.
The thing I'll give, it's hard, because it's a what for you to have done for me lately league, and everyone. I fought it. We all fight at the Dak thing and the interceptions, and even Malik Rozier and I were kind of going back and forth a little bit on Dak, and he's like, man, I don't dislike him. I just think he needs to step his game up. He's got talent. He's got to play big. And if you look at Hurts, the legs, to me, I think there was a comment in there. The legs kind of make the difference if I'm going to put one and two. I think if you look at the total body of work, I'm going to take Dak. But I think you're splitting hairs. And I think the offensive part is when someone actually puts Daniel Jones ahead of Dak, or or would even, I don't think they'd do it on Hurts, but if they did that to Dak just to piss us off. But I'm not going to argue with what you said, and I'm not going to argue if someone had Hurts ahead. I think it's 1A and 1B.
Yeah, well, and there was an interesting thing that I saw today, and it was Mina Kynes, and she was breaking down this whole thing about, I don't know if you've seen the video, it's floating around on Twitter, but she's breaking down the whole Dak Prescott and leading the league in interceptions last year. And obviously she said, hey, that's obviously not a good thing. She said, but if you look at his first 5 years in the league, and obviously she put that because he's had some injuries in the last couple of years. But when you go back to his first 5 years, which is basically what you would consider the foundation of his career, right? He was the 5th lowest out of 32 active quarterbacks to start over 50 games. He was the 5th lowest in interception rate. So this myth that all of a sudden Dak is this guy who just throws interceptions is just not true. And I think that some of it is mental, but I think that you can look at a lot of the picks that he's had, man. And I hate to be a guy that puts it on other people, but whether it be the wrong route being run, and I don't know if that comes from the offensive game planning. I don't know if that becomes from the receiver just not being able to run his route as deep as he needs to when it comes on some of those curls or comeback routes, whatever it may be, the tipped passes and stuff. Just a lot of that shit was fluky, and I don't expect that to happen again this year. I expect Dak to come back, and I expect him to have a great year. I know the cliche thing is to say, and have him to have an MVP type season, but I honestly think that if this game plan and that Mike McCarthy and Schottenheimer are putting together is catered around Dak's strengths, I have no doubt that Dak will be at least mentioned in the MVP conversation throughout the season, because I think he's going to get the interceptions under control. And I think this defense is going to make this offense look better than probably what they are, honestly, because I think that defense is going to keep it's going to keep our offense on the field. So,
yeah. And I, like I said, and I think Steve made a great point. Sometimes these quarterbacks, man, and Hurts had a great season. Take nothing away from him. He put up some good numbers. The legs were good. The 4th and 1 conversions. I mean, my God, how many times he did that? But he's got to do it again. I mean, he's not going to surprise anyone, right? They came off that beating against Tampa in the playoffs. He looked terrible. I mean, he looked terrible against us when he played us. The season before. So, he had a good season last year, but let's see it continue. We've all been down this path. We've all been down the Carson Wentz path, and he was the next coming. And sure shit, he's going to be out of the league in a few years later. So, I want to see it. The thing I'll say with Dak, he's consistent with his production. Now, the turnovers, that was an anomaly, but he puts up big plays. He makes big plays. He puts up big numbers. We just need to see it consistently. So this, to Steve's point, this is going to be the year that's going to separate them two. This is where the schedules are harder for both of them. I mean, the Eagles got a little cakewalk in the playoffs. They got some things fall their way, but hey, they deserve it because they were the number 1 seed. They created their own luck. But this year, all eyes are going to be on Philly. You know how it is. And the Super Bowl hangover, the loser, that happens. I mean, look, go back in history of time with it, and it's something that's legitimate as well. Maybe not the Chiefs, but that's Mahomes. That don't count. Yeah. But, but for the most part, that kind of stuff is there. So, quarterback, I think that's an easy one. That's an easy one first to kind of talk about. The interesting one is when you get to running back, and hopefully I got all these guys right. Again, if I screwed up anything, you guys in the chat, correct your boy. I do this at night after work, after the show. Sometimes I'm sleepy and I can't see unless I got my reading glasses on, which I don't want to wear in the show because then you guys will really call me a boomer. But looking at it, the running backs, Pollard, Jones, Vaughn. You got Penny, Scott, Gainwell. I threw him in there because he had some plays. Barkley, and Breida, but Barkley's the main guy there. Gibson and Robinson for Washington. What is your first reaction, Kelly, when you see that? And also in the chat on running backs, how would you rank the running backs by team there?
To me, I think that one right there is, for me, I think that one is a hard one to hash out personally for me, because I think that just by looking at it.
And you got to, I guess, do you throw Hurts in there? Do we do that? Do we throw the quarterbacks in there? Do you throw, or just let's leave it at running backs?
I'd say we'll leave it at running backs.
Leave it at running backs. That way, we're keeping it. Because we counted Hurts' legs as a quarterback.
Right.
Let's only running back position.
So if I'm looking at this on paper, obviously I like, Barkley does a lot of great things. He's a phenomenal running back, and he hasn't had much of a drop off. The problem with him, though, is seldom is he healthy, right? He's got injury issues. When he's healthy and he's on the field, I mean, he's good. Let's face it, man. He's one of the better running backs that is in the league when he stays on the field. But that hasn't been very often, man. So when I look at that, it's hard for me not to roll with the Cowboys, because I think with Pollard and I think with Vaughn, I think that those are a couple of really dynamic, two dynamic running backs that I think are going to be able to really do some. I think going to be able to do some pretty good things this year. Washington, Gibson is shown that he's been a pretty damn good running back. It's hard, man. And EJ just said it. I was about to say this right here. With Gibson over there at that running back position, and then Washington they do have a pretty solid running back group. What's going to be interesting for me this year about our running group, and why I'm a little bit hesitant to maybe put us at the top of that heap when it comes to the running backs, is this is Pollard's first year being the featured back, right? And we've all seen the story play out before where the backup's the favorite guy. And then, becomes the featured guy, and it doesn't pan out like we thought it was going to, right? Now, I think Pollard's a little bit different there, but he's definitely not going to be a guy who we're handing that ball to 25, 30 times a game. I just don't see it. I see Pollard getting probably in the range of 15 to 20 carries a game, which is probably close to similar to what he got last year. But who are you splitting those carries with? Is Vaughn going to come in and immediately get, 10 carries a game? Is he splitting that load? How many are we giving Jones? So, I mean, Washington definitely has one of the backs. So I don't know, man, that's really hard. I feel like like you said, with the QBs, it's kind of like splitting hairs. I would put Philly at the bottom of that heap, though, just because I'm not impressed with really any of the guys that they got. And they got DeAndre Swift too. Swift wasn't in there.
Oh yeah, Swift is Philly. Yeah,
they got Swift in that group. But I mean, he doesn't really add a whole bunch either. I mean, I don't think he's went over 600 yards his entire career. But so I'd probably put Philly at the bottom, and then I'd maybe a three-way tie with us. I know that's kind of the weak way out, man.
No, I know.
It's just hard to really pinpoint, because if you take Saquon out of the scenario there, then I think Pollard's the best running back in the NFC East. I really do. But Gibson and Robinson from Washington, they provide a pretty good duo. So if anything, I'd probably give them the edge at the one spot, put us at 2, put the Giants at 3, and put Philly at 4.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I was going to go Giants 1. I think Barkley is just too. I mean, he's got too much talent. I mean, the injuries aside, I'm just going to kind of say, well, if it's healthy, then there it is. And I think Dallas, I would put 3. I'd put Washington 2, Dallas 3, Philly 4. But again, I think you're very close with all of them. I think if you guys have been listening to the show, if there's one area that I do have the most concern with, is running back. I don't know. I just think our running back position, I want to see how it – I don't worry about the flash. I'm not worried about the flash. I think we got the flash. I think we got the guys that make –
What about the Thunder?
What worries me is when it comes fourth quarter and we need to grind it out. We need that 15-play drive and we want to kill the clock. I don't have that confidence right now that we have that guy. Now, I could be dead wrong. Again, what the hell do I know? But that's the one that's where I really, think that there's some concern there early on. I mean,
my thing is right now is that I believe I do not think that the running back room right now is the running back room that we start week 1 with. I don't. I think that we're bringing somebody else in. I don't think it's going to be just who we've got on that staff right now. I think we're going to bring another running back in. Now, I don't know. Kareem Hunt, yeah, I mean, he's out there, and he is a guy who'd be a little bit more along the lines of a power type back.
You
And
got to
there's
think
always
Cook. You talked about Cook,
yep, and then we've talked
you got to think he's going to be getting cut. They took his name off of everything.
exactly. So you've got that situation going out there. That's only a matter of time. If Dalvin Cook gets cut, I absolutely think the Cowboys would be in on that. I mean, you look at their salary cap right now and the amount of money that they have right now.
20 million, I think. Yeah.
They got like 20 million. I mean, they could go out and maybe address and bring in another guy for, maybe strengthen up that O-line. But I think absolutely if Dalvin Cook gets cut, I think the Cowboys are one of the top 3 teams that are going after him. I think that they would be, and I think they'd probably be the best fit for him. I think they'd probably be the ones that could be the most aggressive to go out and get him. Yeah. And I think that if he gets cut by Minnesota, I think he ends up in Dallas. So I don't think that running back room with Dallas is set yet, but as constructed right now, that's currently kind of where I have them ranked. So
yeah. No, I mean, and I left Davis out. I mean, maybe he's a power. He showed some power in college. He showed some power in preseason. Yeah. So maybe it changes. Maybe they just stay the same and stay with their guys. But the one thing is we're going to talk about this next group and maybe bring it in. This is probably the one that always gets some debate is wide receiver. So obviously you got Lamb, Gallup, and Cooks. I just kind of left it at 3. And obviously we know the Eagles pretty easily with Brown and Smith. They're the 2 big guys. When you got to the Giants, I mean, I threw some guys in there. The rookie Hyatt, thought he'd be in there. McLaurin's good. Samuel and Brown and Washington. I still, I think it's a 2-team race right there when you're talking about the receivers. It's going to come down to Philly and Dallas. And what's your reaction there?
With this one, it's not as tough for me. I've got Dallas, Philly, Washington, New York.
Okay.
The reason why I will give you this, I think that AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb they're both number 1 receivers, and both of those guys are some dudes.
Yeah.
But when AJ Brown had his controversial tweet about don't compare me, they do things different. They do. AJ Brown's a guy that stays on the outside. CD is a guy that can go outside, inside. So I have those guys like neck and neck, right? Cooks, I think he's a better receiver than Devontae Smith. I think he's the better receiver, and I would 100%, bank on that he's going to have a better season. I like him better, and I like Gallup as our 3rd wide receiver better than Watkins. So I like our guys top to bottom. Like I said, for me it's a tie with the AJ and CD, but the tiebreaker is Cooks and Gallup, because I think if we get the Gallup that we are all expecting and hoping to see, that was the guy that we saw pre-injury, that Michael Gallup is a guy who is a number 2 type wide receiver on pretty much any team. And he does well at doing that. So that's my rankings that I have him. What about you? Where you?
No, I think I feel the same. I think the separator for Dallas is when you go to 2 and 3. I think ones watch each other out. I mean, you can't. I mean, you're not gonna throw either one of the ones off your team. And you can make your argument for Brown. You can make your argument for CD. Again, I think you're splitting hairs with it, and we're going to be loyal to that. But I think the separation. I mean, I like Smith, but I think Cooks is better. I think he's got more skill, than Smith does. And I think where the huge gap would be is, and again, I guess we're playing on hope. But if Gallup returns back to form, now 2 seasons, the 2nd season from surgery, I think he blows away their 3rd receiver, and I think our 4th receiver, whoever that is better than their 4th receiver. So I think it changes. So, and I think Washington 3, Giants, I think are definitely at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, Washington has some nice pieces. Obviously, McLaurin's, he's a dude. You know what I mean? He's a guy. But yeah, when the Giants just don't have a lot at the wide receiver position, and they don't really they haven't really done a whole bunch to address that. I know they added who was the tight end that they added to their roster?
Are you talking about the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants added their.
All right, we're going to that next one. Go ahead. So you got the tight ends.
Okay.
You got, obviously the Cowboy tight ends, and then you got Goddard, and I put Stoll in there for
Okay.
Philly.
Waller is the guy that they added.
Waller and Logan Thomas. It's really your ones. I mean, that's what really matters in your tight ends. Obviously, I put Schoonmaker as one. I think he's going to end up being our top tight end. He
Yeah.
better be if he was picked where he was. So when you look at that, how are you sizing up that group?
Yeah. So on that one, I'm probably I would go with Philly one, just because Goddard, I think, is the best tight end. He's the best tight end in the division right now in terms of he's a playmaker. He's a good tight end. I think he's the best in the NFC East right now. Now, obviously, we'll see what our young tight ends do. Waller, he can't stay healthy. He is injured a lot. So Washington's tight end group, though, it's a pretty solid tight end group, though, that Thomas and I'd probably put Washington second. And I honestly, I'm gonna put probably just with the potential that he brings and that he's shown, if he can stay healthy, I would put Waller and them third, and I'd put us last.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't like our tight end group. I haven't seen Schoonmaker on the field, so I don't know what he's going to bring to the table. And I'm just being objective into what I've seen from the tight end groups. And people liked Schultz last year. And let's just face it, Schultz had his moments where we were all a little bit kind of like, yeah, I don't know about him and his reliability.
Proud, man, when you catch that ball.
but at the end of the day, he did put up some yards and had some productivity. And these young guys are going to have to step in and replace that. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, I hate. See, that's the same. Yeah, and I hate having the Eagles first at anything. But if we're doing these and I'm being honest, I'm not going to bullshit anybody. I think we, as Dallas, we got something to prove with that tight end group. So we'll see where that goes. What about you?
I would do like what EJ had. I think that's how I'd have it. The Eagles, Giants, Washington, and Dallas. But I think a lot of it has to do with the quarterbacks. Doesn't necessarily say. I think Dallas's tight ends probably going to put up better numbers than all of them, because I think Dak likes the tight end. I think he likes tight ends. He's always, with Schultz and obviously, the tail end of Witten and stuff. I mean, he likes to utilize tight ends. So that's kind of his safety, his safety blanket. So I think our tight ends will be there. I just don't know enough about them. I mean, Ferguson showed some flash. Hendershot's there. Schoonmaker's a rookie. You just don't know. So if we're being honest, and you told me to do a draft, that's the order that I would draft those guys in. Take injury out, because again, you can't control injuries. I'm just saying, if you told me to line them up, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, and you gotta go with what you've seen. You got to go with production on the field. I mean, obviously, if we're talking about potential, then I agree with Ultra. The Cowboys, could have the second best tight end in the NFC East by the end of the year, but we have to see that come to fruition. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm going by
June.
There's not yet. It's June, and we haven't seen these Cowboys tight ends that are on the roster right now. There's not a lot of production between them. I mean, there's zero from Schoonmaker, obviously, as a rookie, but we'll see what we can do. It's a young group. It's an athletic group. And I like it. I think that the potential, they have a very high ceiling. But just judged off past years and prior performance, that's where I've got them ranked right now. And obviously at the end of the year could completely flip-flop and hopefully, fingers crossed, that does happen.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. And I wanted to give some love because I forgot from Penn State. Maybe that's why I forgot him, because I'm not a Penn State fan, but Dotson on Washington. So that's what happens when you do these things late. You miss guys. That's a good young receiver.
Yeah, that's right.
Not about him. Doesn't change the order. I'm not putting him ahead of Dallas or Philly. So that
no, I'm not.
But at least want to make sure get him love, because if they had a quarterback, I mean, I think EJ might have mentioned it in the chat. And I hate to use that as as a grade, but I mean it does hurt, because I like Washington's. I really like the receivers, but the quarterback, that they got throwing the ball, good luck. So that's gonna hurt their numbers. And you look at you look at some of these guys that make the move, and they talk about, D-Hop and where he goes. A lot of these receivers, they got to go where there's a quarterback. I mean, you end up with a bad quarterback, you could be a great receiver, and you've seen what happens. It's very, the receivers need the quarterbacks. So I'd almost argue more than the quarterback needs a receiver, but maybe I'm dead wrong. I don't know.
I mean, you look at it. I mean, obviously quarterbacks need their receivers, but there is the case of some of these, the better quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks, the guys, they make guys around them better, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can look at it, whether it be Laurent Robinson when
He got
he was
paid.
with Romo, he got paid, he left, didn't do shit. Miles Austin, obviously he had injuries with the hamstrings and stuff, but I mean, you look at his career, I mean, he blew up with Tony Romo, and then, he went on elsewhere and he didn't have the success, never really found that success. So, I mean, there's been guys that have been elevated by quarterbacks, wide receivers that have went elsewhere and not found that success, either because, that system don't fit, or the quarterback, they don't have that chemistry. Mm-hmm. So the chemistry thing is something big too, which is why I like to see, Dak working in the offseason with guys like Tolbert, with, you see him working out in the backyard, and he's got the receivers in there, and he's got everybody back there working. Like, I like seeing that, you know what I mean? It's you want to develop that chemistry, but yeah, man, it's a interesting thing. It's almost like the chicken and the egg thing.
Yeah.
Debate.
You know what I kicked myself, when we had Ian Beckles on, my brother reminded me of this. I was like, dude, man, you got to text me during the show, because I forget, you try and you have all these things that you want to talk about, and then you forget. I totally forgot Alvin Harper went to Tampa Bay, left Dallas, went to Tampa Bay, and it would have been great to kind of get his thoughts, because he was there. What was the expectations of Alvin Harper? Obviously, to your point of, quarterback and, need that receiver, it did not work out well for him at all in Tampa Bay. But that would have been interesting to kind of get that story, because, that man, he don't hold back. I mean, he's going to tell it like it is. So if we get him on again, make sure one of us remember, because I think I'd be pretty interested to hear what his thoughts were on that Alvin Harper signing, and kind of how it went so bad in Tampa.
For sure.
Yeah. So I didn't even bother putting the offensive line. There's too many names, and your boy's not good at that. So let's finish up the offense and go with the offensive line. So obviously you got Dallas and Philly, Washington, and New York. Some good offensive lines, at least on two of them. And like I said, it seems to be a 2-horse race. But what's your initial thoughts on the line?
Philly, I've got as the best line, and I got them number one. The bottom three, shake it out, man. That's a little bit harder for me. Man, with Dallas's offensive line right now, man, that's still, I've been talking about it all offseason. That's one of the ones that just that gives me pause, just because I don't know how it's going to shake out and where they're going to be at. But I think Dallas has that. They have enough pieces on there that I could put them at the 2 spot. And then maybe Washington and then New York. I guess in that order, probably would be it. So definitely. Yeah, and I could flip that around too. Like Game Time Brian says, Philly and Washington, but yeah, I've got New York last. So I flipped the boys and ahead of Washington, just because I don't like putting us down towards the bottom of the heap in back-to-back groups. I did it with the tight end. Don't make me do it again. But it's there's still a lot of question marks still on this Cowboys offensive line, though. Honestly, You have some positions that you don't know what we're going to do with them yet. And it's, we've heard things about what they're thinking, plans for Steele and switching him over to one side and bringing Tyron Smith over to the other, and then shuffling in Tyler Smith in the guard. And I don't know. We'll see how that all shakes out. We've got some pieces on that team. Now that there is some guys out there, I will say still, that are floating around in free agency that could be guys that could come in and get a roster spot on this team. And we do have some salary cap out there and still some money to spend. But obviously, I think the Cowboys front office feels comfortable with what they've got right now. So I feel like that Washington O-line is trash. I'm not saying Washington O-line's super great either, but Carson Wentz holding on to the ball like he held on to the ball contributed to a lot of those sacks. Let's just set that record straight. Carson Wentz fucking held that ball like he was holding a newborn baby and he was a mother in the maternity ward. So he didn't do his O-line any favors in that aspect. But what do you think on that O-line? What's your
No, I think Philly, I think what Philly has that we don't is consistency in their line with personnel. Maybe I'm wrong again. I'm just thinking their line's been together a while.
More solidified.
The center, Kelsey's great. Johnson. I mean, they have. I would probably put them 1. I would put us 2. I'm not going to be so quick to throw us down to 3. I think if you're talking our best 5 and where they're going to be versus the others, I'm still going to take ours. Obviously, things can take. You could play injuries and things like that, but I think Biotis showed something. He's a young guy, so that's a young center. I think Tyler Smith, young guy. I mean, he showed a lot of promise, and I think that the sky's the limit for him. I think seeing how Steele comes back is going to be interesting. Tyron Smith, I mean, we know he's good when he's there, but he's going to miss some games. And obviously, Zach Martin, to me, is still the best. I mean, he's still the best position. So yeah. I think when you got him, sometimes you get a guy like that, it starts trumping you up a little bit. When in doubt, I got Zach Martin, so I'm going to put myself ahead of some of these other ones. But I'll give Philly that again. I think the consistency and the cohesiveness that they have in their line, I think maybe that might be the separator. But I'd put us 2, Washington, than the Giants. The Carson Wentz. So I don't know if you guys remember this. So my favorite Carson Wentz moment was when he was in Philly. And we played him, and it was Monday night. And if you remember, I did like a promo in the rain when it was over or something like that. It was like one of those nights. But I just remember him dropping back, and they flushed him out to the side, and he held the ball. And I don't know if you remember this play. He held the ball so damn long. I think it was Wilson came up all the way from like deep safety and sacked him, and I think he fumbled, and we got the ball. You talk about a guy holding the ball. I mean, and it was like slow motion. You see him running from 10 yards down, and Wentz is just sitting there just holding the ball, had no one to throw to, could have just easily threw it away. And so again, to your point, is I'm probably hard to kill the Washington line if it's by Carson Wentz getting killed, because he was terrible at that, man. That dude would hold the ball forever.
Yeah, he did. He did it when he was with the Colts. He's a quarterback who has, in my opinion, he lost it up here. It up there. He had the physical tools and showed that he had those physical tools there to be a good quarterback. He got Jedi mind fucked when he was in Philadelphia, and it went downhill ever since then. And I just think he doesn't have it up top anymore. He's lost that confidence, and I don't know that he'll ever get it back. But yeah, he holds on to the ball way too long. Yeah. So that results in sacks, and your offensive line is going to be looking back at you saying, hey, man, you had 4.5, 5 seconds. That's way too long.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of the damn ball.
Yeah. And I think, if they lose Lane, I mean, if we lose Zach Martin, you could, if we lose Tyler Smith, if you lose a key guy to your offensive line, that's where the trouble starts with us is probably some depth. And you got
injuries.
You got Tyron Smith, and maybe they're going to swing tackle him. I doubt it. I don't know. I know they're going to put him at right tackle. I just have this feeling that's what's going to happen. And I hope he does it. I was going to ask Fred. I don't know if he put his email in the chat, but I know Steve was looking for it because he wanted to get in touch with him. So if you're still listening, Fred, make sure you drop that in there, and we'll make sure we throw it on the screen so Steve can get it. I know Steve does no social media. Yeah, he's like the only guy that I know, and it's probably the smartest guy that I know. He does no social media, but I always say if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't even know you guys. Kelly and I wouldn't even know each other. There's good things that happen with social media. So
yeah, exactly.
So we did the offense. So we'll do a total offense. So you put all the pieces together. We got all the positions together. So now, how would you rank the offenses, total offenses in the NFC East?
All right. So Dallas, Philly, Washington, New York. That's how I've got it. I like our group position groups. I know that, you know, at the key positions, I think we have the edge advantage. Like I said, I think quarterback, if you want to say that's a wash, cool. I think we got the better receivers. I think we got the better running back group, and that's where I think that's the edge. He said Philly by a nose. I could see that. Me personally, I just got to say Dallas because I think Dallas is going to. I think their offense is going to be. I think their offense is going to surprise some people this year. I think what they're going to be able to do with the at the running back position, at the tight end position, not necessarily running back, but at the tight end position and at that wide receiver group. I think they're going to have some mismatches. I think they're going to create some mismatches for groups, for the defenses. And I think that, I think our offense is going to be better than some expect. I mean, I think we all expect them to be good, but I think that they're going to look, I mean, let's face it, man, they didn't look horrible last year. And Dak didn't even have.
They were still a top 5. They were top 5 at least offense, if not better.
Exactly. And I mean, when you add a weapon to that, when you give him additional weapons, and like we think that Schoonmaker can be, that we know Cooks can be, and chemistry is everything too, man. Let me just say that, man. If Dak develops a chemistry, because he's already got one with Gallup and he's got one with CD. I mean, we've seen it. But if he develops a chemistry with Cooks and that starts out right away and he's got that from jump, then and I'll say this. I saw somebody in the comments earlier that said, it was Mark that said Dak needs to play in the preseason. He absolutely, I couldn't agree with that more. I thought it was a huge mistake not playing him in the preseason last year. He didn't get one snap. I think the only QB in this league that shouldn't play preseason is Patrick Mahomes. That's it. I don't have no problems if they don't play him, but I think every other single quarterback needs to play in the preseason.
No, I think they do. They've gotten away from it, and the problem is they've gotten away from that, and they've gotten away from padded practices and all of this other stuff. So I think I think they definitely should get some reps in there. I don't know. Think you could see the first few games. It just doesn't look that well. Sorry, I got distracted. My Heat are getting their ass kicked, and I don't understand. Martin, the hero, has 0 points. I just saw so far in the game. So I don't know what the hell's going on. But back to business at hand. I think Dallas' offense is top to bottom. I think it's a slight. I mean, it is going to be it's slightly better. What I think also is I don't know if Dallas by the numbers, their offense is going to be a top 5 offense by the numbers, because I think the defense is going to create opportunities, maybe short fields with some turnovers and this and that. But so I'm never big on, they had the most yards, so they're the best offense. It's always what you see. And that's why I always say with Dallas, I was always, and I think you and I talked about it, and I think we feel maybe the same way if we don't say, hey, I don't agree with a word you're saying, but I never felt like Dallas's offense was a top 5 offense. They showed flashes of it.
Yeah.
They beat up on some bad teams and throw 50 points up or something like that, but I never felt like that was a top 5 offense. I never had that feeling that you would have with Cincinnati or with Kansas City, where they could just score at will sometimes. I never really had that with Dallas, because it was consistency, and it was the things with the coordinator. Now I think what McCarthy's going to bring, I think he's going to bring a better scheme and more consistency to the offense. So maybe the numbers aren't going to be there. Maybe it's not going to be, putting up huge numbers, but I think efficiencies, I think points per game, which matter the most, I think Dallas is going to be one of the top ones.
Yeah. And to EJ's point that he just put right there, he said the turnovers hurt us last year. I expect that to be much better. So yeah, I mean, if you factor that into it, I mean, there's several things that you got to factor into it. He had pointed out earlier about, and I've said it numerous times too, the Eagles lost their offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinators aren't just plug and play guys, man. It's very, very that offensive coordinator ran a pretty goddamn good offense. I mean, you look at what they did next year. If you think this, another offensive coordinator just steps in and immediately does what that guy did, I mean, I like our chances to continue with what we got because our guys were already on staff. They brought in a whole new guy that implementing a whole new offense. So, that can't be understated. And so, yeah, if you just imagine cutting down off the turnovers, man. If Dak cuts those turnovers in half, what that does for our offense. And we fully expect that to happen. So absolutely think that Dak cuts down on the turnovers this year. And that also is going to be a boost for the offense. So
yeah,
a lot of things to be optimistic about as far as this offense goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, blitz protection with running back, that is, thanks Scott. See, I tell you, we can't think of everything. We miss stuff. And that's something that is important. And I think blitz protection, that's something where we don't really know what we have. I don't know enough about, Jones, if that's a strength of his or not. I know that Pollard, it wasn't a real big strength of his. And I'm pretty confident that Deuce Vaughn's not going to be back there picking up the blitz either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not putting a guy that's 5'10" back there to block anybody. I mean, shit.
5'6". What are you talking about?
So you're gonna have defenders. You can have defenders jumping over that guy. That just walk over him.
Yeah, you remember that last play in our mind of Zeke's last offensive play? That's kind of what it would probably be a hell of a lot worse than that. It would be
worse,
like in Chappelle's show. Remember when Charlie Murphy was doing the real stories and he did the karate kick to
kick him in his chest.
Yeah, and then he flew into the window, and cocaine's a hell of a drug. So that's Rick James when he kicked Rick James. That's kind of what it would look like when they hit him. So I don't think that's going to be. So that's definitely something that you've got to look at. Yeah, Jags and Raiders at home for preseason. So they, that'll, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm Rick James, damn right. And it doesn't really matter with the teams. I got rid of my tickets, thank God. I was able to sell my preseason tickets. They were kind of like a throw-in. I sold my Rams and Washington game, and I said, "Look, man, if you buy those two, I'll throw in the preseason ones because you can't give them away." So. But
yeah, it's crazy that they still have people though that pay some of the money they do to go to some of these preseason games because it's not like them preseason tickets are. I mean, they're cheaper than regular season, but it's not like they're cheap. Is in comparison to it's an exhibition game where you don't. I mean, it's football, but and my thing about it is I'm always pumped up, juiced up, ready to get towards the preseason. But I swear to God, about 30 minutes into that first preseason game, I'm like, oh. Just because you're a lot of the play calling is super vanilla. You don't really. You're seeing guys get action to kind of see what some of the things. But preseason, man, it's like I don't know, man. The build up to it is just always so hype for me, and I'm like, finally, football's back. And then after that first preseason game, I'm like, fuck, bring on the regular season, man. This shit's hard to watch.
Yeah. The funny thing is they know the NFL's smart. So, every other year we get 9 home games, right? So you get 1 preseason game. So you're thinking, oh, well, they're going to cut the preseason games down, but they only do it on the other years, right? The home ones. So when we have 9 home games, you get 1 home preseason game. When you have 8 home games, you get 2. That way they grab you. So as a season ticket holder, I get screwed, no matter what. I either get that extra game, which is nice, right? You get that extra 9th home game. That's what you really want. But on the ones you don't, I'm like, all right, I'll get a little reprieve there. But then they hit you with the 2 home preseason games. That it might be. I don't know. Mark probably he knows if he knows off the top of his head. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if they're half the price of the regular ones, or maybe they're even close to the other ones. So anyway, he said yes. I think that's what it is. But it's tough. I'm tired of opening at we haven't played the Giants. We haven't played the.
It's been over 2 years. We opened with Tampa Bay the last 2 years.
Last 2 years was Tampa, and ending in DC. I think they want to get that. They want to get that rivalry, the divisional games at the end. That way, teams are kind of maybe playing for something. But I don't know. Maybe I might be alone. I'm kind of excited that the Giants on Sunday Night Football You obviously you wish it was at home, but I think it's going to be it'll be a nice test, and I think maybe it'll be a little bit of reality for the
Yeah.
Giants. Hopefully.
Well, what I like about it is that, the first game, and this is the second year in a row now that we've opened up on Sunday Night Football. That first week, the first weekend of football, the suspense leading up to it, and then being able to watch all these games throughout the day and watch them all kind of play out and see, okay, are there any teams that just came out and just completely surprised you, whatever. Then you get to your game, and your game is the primetime game, and all eyes are on you. Like, I love that, man. Like, what's not to love about that? I love the.
Do you guys and everyone in chat, how do you feel on the Sunday night games opening? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I got to wait and watch Thursday. Then I got to wait and watch all those games. And I'll be honest, when my team's on Sunday night, I sometimes will miss. I'll like casually watch the other game, but I'm not like sitting down in a chair. I kind of like got to get my mind because I'm going crazy. I hate the Sunday night games opening night because it's just, you got to wait so long for your game.
For me, man, me personally, I like it just because for me, it's that suspense. It's like, all right, baby, we got this, the statement game. Because honestly, like, no matter what happens throughout any of these other games, the thing everybody's going to be talking about on Monday morning is the Cowboys Sunday night football game, right? So we're either going to show up and we're gonna smack the Giants around like Rick James. What a 5 fingers say to the face. You know what I mean? We're either gonna do that, or we're gonna come out disappointed, and they're gonna all be talking about, oh, here you go, same old, Cowboys, or nothing changed. They didn't blah blah blah, whatever. Which I don't expect that. I expect the Cowboys to win Sunday night to open it up. But I do. I like the suspense that just like that build up, man. Because for me, man, it's almost, I don't know, it's almost a euphoric for me, man, when that Sunday night football music starts playing, man, and I know it's my team and everybody's watching us, like, I don't know, man, there's just something about it. So I'm gonna be hyped up, man. I'll be ready to. I'll watch the hype video. I'm probably sure I'll run through my neighbors. I'll run through a couple of brick walls before I come back and grab a beer and sit down. So
that's it. And I think we have one more. I know Brian said we only have one. I think we have one early game at home against the Rams. At least I think that's what it said on the schedule. Maybe they change it if the Rams are better, but I think that's our home one. That's why I sold that one. That was but I should have, that one I should have done with Doug. Doug actually, one of our friends in Cowboys Nation, he flies out the morning of a 12 o'clock game, flies out that morning, goes to the game and flies home. That's a day.
Yeah.
Woo. That's a day. And he's got it worked out. And I'm like, man, I want to try that one year. But the 11 o'clock game or 12 o'clock, whatever they are, 1 o'clock, wherever you're at, the 12 o'clock games for Dallas, man, it's just, I don't know. I just don't have the vibes, those.
It's a little too early, man. My favorite spot, I love my primetime games, but I love the 3 o'clock games, man, because you can kind of, you can get up, you don't have to be in a rush, you can get your day going. I usually catch like the second halves, usually the second half of the noon games is what I'm watching, because if I miss the first part, I ain't worried about it. It's not my team plan. But usually if I'm cooking, I can throw something on the grill. I'm not in a big rush to get anything going. If I got to go to the store because I forgot beer, ice, nothing like that, I'm cool. But if it's that 12 o'clock game, it feels like everything is rushed. You know, you got like the very first game that I went to, not very first, but the most recent one that I went to, the 12 o'clock game, was that Denver Broncos game. And that was
a time change. It was a time change on top of it.
It was a time change, and then the night before, it was Saturday, man. So I had been hitting it hard and drinking. I think there was a fight the night before, and so I had been out drinking, stayed up really late, and I woke up in the morning and I'm like, oh God, everything just felt rushed. And by the time I got there, I had like maybe 45 minutes before the game started, so I really didn't get a chance to take it all in, the tailgating and all that stuff. And I don't know, I just like to do all that and be. Yeah. Let me just kind of ease into this game, ease into the game. The noon games they feel rushed.
That's what I've got it's the only regret I have for not And thanks for the reminder, Clarence, of the beating that we did get. We did get a beating. I can't deny it. And I took my nephew to that game, and he's forbidden to go to any Cowboy games with me ever again. But that's the one part I miss about not living in Dallas and not being able to tailgate. Like I've thought of different ways, and maybe if one of our guys in here that live in Dallas, maybe they can help a brother out. I was like, you know what? I wish I'll buy a tent. I'll buy all the stuff. I just need to store it somewhere and have tailgates. Because when I go to Miami games, the tailgating is my favorite part. And
Oh yeah.
you get to tailgate in lot 10 with with the crew sometimes, but they're not at every game, sometimes, so then other times you're at the Miller Lite Club or whatever. But I don't know. I love the tailgating part of it, man. That's my favorite part, man. When we played the Tampa Bay, man, I had a whole put the flags up. I had we got the wings and we got all of that stuff, man. We had a blast. Ended up meeting Cowboy fans that, what followed us and we met over, had a great time. And that's the part I always tell people, the build up when you go into the game is just extra. It's like the tailgating and the build up. That's the best part of going to the football games.
Yeah. Well, and then if you've got and then after the game's over, you can go back out and, tailgate a little bit more, man. And kind of, that's all. Tailgating is fun, man. You got it. Tailgate before the game. You can go back out after the game and hang out a little bit more, drink a little bit more, celebrate the win. I love tailgating, man. But it looks like we've got several people in the chat, though.
Yeah,
Mike.
We've got some people. So I'm dead serious. Like I will get a tent and ship it to your house and Cowboy tent. You just, don't, when you get it, don't make sure you don't lose my number.
Yeah.
I don't be seeing your tailgate while I'm walking around. But I would, one of those grill, get yourself a nice little grill and, have a whole thing, man. I love doing it. That's my favorite. It's just my favorite part of the.
There's been times that I go to I've been to a game before, man, and it was this is college football, obviously, but when I lived in Lubbock and I had season tickets for Tech, I'd just go to a game, and there's sometimes I'd just tailgate the entire game, wouldn't even go into the game, and I had season tickets. Like if it wasn't a big opponent, you know what I mean? If we're playing like a Sam Houston State or something. And I just tailgate, man. We had TVs in the parking lot that, somebody'd have a TV hooked up. We'd be eating, drinking, and watching the game on the TV and just sitting out there with people because, sometimes we weren't the only ones. There's people all throughout the parking lot that would just tailgate out there. People that didn't have tickets that stay at the tailgate and drink and just have a good time and eat food and watch the game. So tailgating is a blast. If you've never done it, you have to do it because it's definitely an experience in football that is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to get to know Scott because he's got the wave runners and he's got all the boats and he's got all the stuff. He's got accommodations. So, Scott, we're gonna, Kelly and I are gonna be there.
Scott, we're hitting you up
for the Jets game. You want to
we are
hook us up a day early. I've got wave runners at my place in Florida, so we can work a deal out or something like that. But yeah, I definitely take you up and with Mark as well. I'm sincere in what I said about the tailgating part. All kidding aside, that's the one thing that I miss, and I wish we could do more. And we got kind of sidetracked because now we got to go to the defense. I'm watching it, man. It's 19 now. We're getting a little better. Defensively, we can run through the defense a little bit easier. What I was thinking is pass rush. Just do pass rush. What's your feeling? Pass rush.
Cowboys
over Philly.
I got Cowboys over Philly. Philly lost Hargrave on their that's a loss on their pass. I don't think we lost anything. In fact, I think if anything, we gained something with drafting a guy like Mozzie Smith to solidify the interior of that line. I like the potential that he brings along with what we've already got there. So I think we added. And I think that our Sam Williams with his second-year jump, which I do foresee a second-year jump, I think Dallas. I like us. Honestly, pass rush, defense, like top to bottom, like somebody just said, Dallas top to bottom. I got Dallas all the way through.
You're going to take Dallas at linebacker. And that's now at linebacker position, including Parsons, and you also got to include Reddick at Philly, right?
Yep.
So he's a linebacker there. So pass rush, I'm with you. I take Dallas at pass rush. Run defense, would you take Dallas over Philly? I mean, that's kind of, or even, I mean, Washington's got a front four. I mean, I hate to leave them out of the party, especially their D tackle. You know.
Yeah, Washington's got some nasty. They got a nasty front four. Who's their guy that they got? Who's their guy they got? Chase Young can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
The guy's always hurt, man. So that's a problem for them too. But I mean, if we're just, as far as pass rush, like I said, I'm gonna have Dallas, Philly, Washington, and then New York is who I would take in that order.
I would agree.
And then that's the order I got him. But yeah, when you're talking about when we go to the linebacker position or whatever, then
so linebacker, you got. I mean, it's still going to be Dallas, Philly. I think.
It's still Dallas, Philly, and then
so Reddick and Parsons. That's the conversation that's always. Philly just gets so mad that Parsons is ranked higher, and I think maybe Reddick ended up with more sacks or something like that. Yeah. But it's so funny that Philly just loves to tell everyone how much Parsons loves Philly, even though we all know he was born in Pennsylvania. So he does have some ties to the state of Pennsylvania on their teams. But then they found out he was wearing another jersey after the Celtics, right? He had so he wears a jersey of the week. So that pissed him off. But really, when you're looking at the linebacker, you look at Reddick and you look at Parsons, you got to take Parsons all day.
Here's the thing for me, man. Reddick is a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him. He is a good player.
Yeah.
Parsons is a generational player.
Yeah.
He is the talent. He's a generational talent. He just is. There's no sugarcoating that. There's no way around it. Parsons is obviously he's got a long way to go in his career, but he has the ceiling and the potential and all the capability and all the tools to end up as one of the greatest linebackers, defensive end, wherever you put him at. If you decide to start putting him in defense, he has the potential to be one of the greatest defenders to play the game. Mentioned up there with guys like Lawrence Taylor, some of the greatest to ever do it.
Well, and I think what you're saying is he go down as one of the greatest football players.
Football players, period. Just because of what he brings to the game and his versatility. Because not many people can do what that guy can do.
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys that can rush the passer, but there's not a lot of guys that can drop back and cover, and he can do that. You know what I mean? So that's I like our position guys when it comes to linebacker because they give us the edge, because I do think Parsons is better than Reddick. I don't care that Reddick had more sacks last season. They can, hug them sacks all you want. I think Parsons impacted the game more than Reddick on an every down basis. Towards the end of the season, you started to see him wear down just a little bit, some stuff, injuries adding up, but he still, man, that San Francisco game, he brought it. He showed up. So that's what I got on linebackers. Now with when it breaks down to that 3 and 4 spot, Washington.
I'll be honest with you. Their defenses are so, to me, and maybe I'm blind to it. Their defenses are so far behind.
Light years.
Yeah. Well, here we go. So I got a reply on that Cameo. So very happy with what you created. I know it's a little more serious than you're used to, but you nailed it. I sent it to his mom for final verdict. But from what I know, he's going to lose his shit in the best way possible. Thank you. So that's what makes it worth it, man.
That's awesome.
Someone put about a little Cowboys cave, and we're gonna have some new merch. But Kelly and I got to get together so we can kind of put together a cool picture for the cover of it. But I do have some old, Cowboys Nation merch, and I've told Bud or anyone else who best. All you gotta do is if you DM me. Find me if you're on Facebook or whatever it is, or Twitter or Instagram. Just send me your address and send me your shirt size. I've still got a few left, and I will mail it out free of charge because I always give back, man. That's what we do. It's got to get the good vibes going so we get that 6th Super Bowl title. I don't want to be a jerk to nobody. So all you got to do, if any of you guys ever want any, just send me a message. We'll get it. Now, when Kelly and I's merch come out, there's going to be a little price to pay. Now the price is, and Kelly can, if he voids it and he wants to have a little upcharge, he can. But typically, what I try and do is just cover our cost. We get the shirts made. I'm not looking to make any money on it. Kelly, if you want to make a couple bucks, we'll throw it up. We'll keep it on down low, and you can make a few. But no, I just do it for fun, man. I think it's cool, and we do the dry fit. It's not a cotton thing, man. I've got some shirts that we've done from 3 years ago, and they still look brand new. So we'll make it right when we do it. No half-assing it. So.
Absolutely. I love the dry fit myself.
Yeah. So they just last. They just last longer. So secondary, you're still you're all in on the Cowboys on secondary.
I'm all in on the Cowboys, man. Like I got them across. I got them all the way, man. Safety, talking Donovan Wilson, Jaron Kearse, Malik Hooker, like that. Those three guys, all three of them, some good, solid dogs. I'm taking them. I'm taking when we added Gilmore to this secondary. I think that put our secondary over Philly. I think that gave us the jump. I think before that move, I think it was Philly, but I think it's Dallas and Philly, in that order. And then, I agree that Washington and New York, I do agree with EJ in that order in terms of the secondary. Yeah. But overall, I like our position groups at every single level better than Philly. And also add to the fact that Philly added a new defensive coordinator. They said, hey, we didn't really like our defensive coordinator, not that big of a loss. Well, sometimes you think that, and then you get a guy like Mike Nolan in there coaching your defense, and you realize, maybe the guy that we had before wasn't that bad. So, before they sit there and count their chickens before them eggs have hatched, we've got Dan Quinn, and that's the biggest chess piece in this defensive thing here, is that Dan Quinn, I believe, is the guy that makes this defense elite.
Yeah.
We've got playmakers, but what good is having playmakers if you don't got a guy that can make this thing hold? You got a chef to cook up all them ingredients and make that 5-course meal that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's Dan Quinn. So top to bottom. And I got Dallas over everybody.
Yeah, the Heat are getting they're getting the dog shit beat out of them. God dog. I'm hoping it was just they left it out on the line, in that by Boston series, and I think it took a lot out of them. I'm hoping that hopefully they could steal one in a couple of days, get some rest, and be back at it. But looking at the defense, I agree. And that's why I think it's going to be proven on Sunday night. The Giants had a nice little fairy tale season, and they came out of the druthers, and they made the playoffs, and look what and then they won a game. All right, they beat Minnesota, which Minnesota never does anything in the playoffs. No one ever talks about them. They always talk about us, but Jesus, Minnesota in the playoffs is terrible, and Cousins in big games.
Oh yeah,
I just think when you look at the Cowboys and you look at the Eagles, and I'm disappointed. No one is arguing with us on any of this. Does anyone think the Eagles have the best defense? I guess we don't have any Eagle fans that watch our show, which is probably the way you and I said it should be. But usually they trickle in, but they haven't trickled in to our show yet, thank God. But
and they lost 5 defensive starters, and they when you say, well, yeah, but a couple, only 2 of those guys were impact guys. The other 3 guys are just guys that you can replace. Yeah, I hear that shit all the time, man. But I mean, that's basically that's 50% of your defense that you lost right there. I don't care who you replaced them with. They replaced them with a lot of young guys. They got rookies in there that they're hoping to come in and replace veteran production that they lost. So there's no guarantee that that's who comes in there and that those guys step in right away and have that kind of production. And they've got a new defensive coordinator. So again, there's a lot of things that factor into that Philly defense that leads me not to trust them. Now, if this was last year, I still liked our defense better last year. Even last year, I liked our defense better. I like Philly's ability to stop the run better, but I liked our defense overall better. I mean, you saw what we did to that Philadelphia defense, man. We dropped 40 on them. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Philly's defense was obviously something that could be had. You saw what happened in the Super Bowl. They gave up all them points in the second half. Like, Philly's defense wasn't anything where they were scaring people by any means, by any stretch of the imagination.
They gave up a lot of they gave up a lot of leads and made close games. I mean, Detroit's the one that comes to mind. There's a few. I mean, we dropped 40 on them. Again, I think this year is going to be a test. They're being that Super Bowl team. The teams,
Telling you,
not
man.
nobody. I mean, Dallas is when they play, it's that team's Super Bowl every game. Dallas is playing that team's Super Bowl. That's just being the Cowboys and the way it is. Philly, they're gonna feel that, and the schedule's gonna be harder. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But I agree with you. I think Dan Quinn is the difference, the huge difference maker. I think the youth that we have on our team is at these positions and the leadership. And again, they talk about Gilmore and they say, "Oh, we brought this old guy in." Hey, don't forget he's like the same age as Slay. And also don't forget Slay made his Pro Bowl in 2016. In 2019, Gilmore was defensive player of the year and Pro Bowl and all that other stuff after that. So, it's funny they give Slay a pass over there, but then they talk about Gilmore. I think Gilmore is going to be a huge difference maker for this team, especially in the secondary, and given that front, that extra half a second, quarter, whatever it is for Parsons and Tank and the boys to do their thing.
Well, I'll say this, man, and this is my, people have their bold predictions, their hot takes. I think Philly finishes the season 9-8. I think they're gonna lose a lot of games. I think they'll lose 8 games this year. I think they'll be 9-8. I think that they may edge out a wild card, but I think it's going to be a one and done appearance in the playoffs. I think they're going to have a disappointing season. I don't think their offense is going to look like what they looked like last year. I don't think their defense is going to be good enough to stop people. I think their defense is going to be a liability. I'm not bought in on Philly, man. Everybody knows that I hate Philly. There's no secret about that. But I think that we got better on our weaknesses, and I don't think that they did. I don't think that they addressed their weaknesses like that we did. So yeah, I got Philly winning 9 games, man. And from a team that just won the Super Bowl, I think that'd be a huge disappointment. So,
that would be major. They go 9-8. I mean, woof.
Yeah.
That just confirms that we're going to win our division. If you feel that, because I think we win 11 or 12 games looking at the schedule.
I think we win our division. Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be nice. And the funny thing was, you talk about hot takes and just, changing subjects a little bit. So there was, bold predictions everyone has. So again, this has got to be long shot stuff, but bold prediction was the Saints getting the number 1 seed in the NFC. And, the thing I would say with that, the reason I don't know if it's the Saints, the thing that concerns me is our schedule. And again, I said, we win 11 games or 12 games. I think we're a better team than we were last year. But I just have this feeling that some shitty team, for lack of a better word, has a cupcake schedule and is going to end up getting the number 1 seed just by stroke of luck of being in a bad division with an easy schedule. So
it could be, man. I know that. I don't know, man. There was a lot of people that were all in on the Saints last year, and I remember at the beginning of the season questioning that and saying, "Yeah, who's your quarterback, though?" Right? Like, you don't have a quarterback, and everybody was like, "Well, no, Winston's going to be this, going to be that," and I'm like, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. You guys are trying to sell me oceanfront property in Nebraska, and I'm not buying. So I don't buy in on them. I think they may be a little bit better than what they were last year. I just think that they still got. I think they got question marks at some of the biggest positions they have. Quarterback being one.
Yeah, I think Mark saw my head go like this. My eyes lit up. The heater down by 10. They're making a.
Hey, well, there you go, man.
Man, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they make it interesting.
Make a run.
They're up 12. But the kicker. So we didn't get into special teams. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys, Kelly, you probably should have yelled at me. I forget about special teams. I always do.
Yeah, I do too.
But kicker, what are we doing? I mean, we don't really have a kicker. You think you'd want someone in soon, or you think they're just playing the waiting game? There's some veterans out there, Robbie Gould is, he's one of those names that you're hearing a lot. Denver, I don't know if it was officially did or whatever happened.
I think they traded their kicker to the Jags.
Did he get traded? I thought he got cut. Okay, did they
I
trade
think
him?
he got traded to the Jags for a conditional 7th. I don't think that they released it, but it was for a draft pick, and I think it was a 7th round pick. So, yeah, pretty sure that he did get traded. And then the Jags had a kicker that they were looking at, and I think he ended up going to Detroit. Is where he ended up going. But yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do at kicker. But if we had to rank special teams, I'm gonna have to put us at the bottom because we don't have a kicker right now.
No,
I mean, we've got that guy Viscano or whatever, but I'm not sold.
He's missing everything. I heard.
I'm not sold that he's going to be there. Cowboys need to get a kicker. They need to quit fucking around and just get a guy.
Well, here's the thing: if you can't make kicks in practice when you're by yourself and there's no line, I mean that's a problem.
Get him going. Let him go. Yeah.
Well, there we go, EJ. You might want to run out there, man. Just see if you can do a little walk-on tryout. I mean,
there you go.
I'll take that. I'll take that, man. I just don't want no one missing them short field goals, man. What I saw with Maher, I was at that Tampa game, and it was painful. It was painful to watch that happen.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't want to see that shit again.
No, but yeah, Robbie, I think he's out there. So I don't know what the deal is, but that guy was always pretty clutch. I've heard his name a lot, so. They got to do something. I know they talked about the Green Bay kicker's been there forever.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is sometimes you get these guys, these older guys, man, and you look at the Denver kicker. All right, he got traded, but look what his numbers were. His field goal percentage was way down.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if there's a guy in the XFL or USFL or someone that was doing good. Why wouldn't they bring him in? Yeah, we can get Chris Bonio maybe.
They need to get somebody. They need to get somebody. They got to address that shit and do it. I'm sure they will, but they definitely got to get somebody in there to start fucking making some kicks because you're down in a bad way if you start missing kicks like that. So
well, we have to do something. But let's see, rather guy can consistently good. Absolutely. No, to me. That's nothing pisses me off than missing those inside the 45.
The easy ones. Yeah.
55 or 50, whatever the normal
or missing extra points. I mean,
yeah.
That's infuriating is miss an extra point. I don't think you should ever miss an extra point. So
that's
not in my opinion, but yeah.
So, man, that's it, man. That's our story. We're sticking to it.
Kelly,
you're off next week, so I'm either going to be solo or I'm going to have to find me someone to sit in the chair. It's like the Artie chair if you're a Howard Stern fan. We got the Kelly chair. We got to find someone to sit in the chair, or your boy will go solo. So I'm looking for volunteers. If
there you go, guys. Step up. Somebody step up to the mic.
See if it's that easy. Everyone comes on here and they tell us, hey, Kelly, you guys, Mike, you talk too much. Then I heard one, Kelly, you talk too much. Then I heard this. Oh, you guys, come on here. It's a lot harder than it looks sometimes, but definitely if anyone's interested, EJ, just DM me. I know your stuff, and you're welcome to co-host. I'll be looking for someone on Thursday because the show must go on.
That's right.
Kelly's going to be solo. Maybe the following week or the week after. One of those times.
I might be coming on. Make a little come in on the show on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I might pop in, say what's up. Monitor the show from afar, and then have to pop in here and just make a quick appearance on Thursday. We'll see how that goes down.
The funny thing is we get a lot of love here. Everyone's saying to jump on. But Kelly, how many times have we put the link of the just jump on and they can just join us? It'd be easier because then it's a threesome. Not in that way, of course. That probably came out bad.
Hey, easy.
I know. I was going to say something. They had. What is this month? Is it like a love month? Is that what it is?
It's Pride Month.
Is it Pride Month?
Pride Month.
I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. And I saw the Eagles. If you go to the website, they're very prevalent. Promoting it, and so I think that's a great thing. I didn't see it on Cowboys one yet, but they call us a lot of names. The Eagles call us a lot of names. I'm only saying that as throwback to them because they say a lot of stuff about Cowboy fans all the time. But I think it's pretty interesting their website looks a lot different than ours when you go on there. Maybe ours is going to change, so I better watch it.
No, you know, they have this. They have, you know, it's Philly. It's the city of brotherly love.
Yes, absolutely. But we put this on so you guys can jump in. You can jump in and join the show and be on camera, because sometimes it's easier, because I know some people with phone, they're like, well, I'm watching you from my phone, so if I call in, I kind of lose everything. So that's another easy way to do it. But hopefully, Kelly, if you jump in, great. But it's vacation, so don't take any time away. So.
All right, man. Well, you know, when it comes to the Cowboys, man, I might, you know, I gotta monitor it, baby. So I'll definitely be having a good time, but you know, I'll pop in and see what's going on the Cowboys cave, because this is the place to be on Thursday night.
Absolutely. And there's an interesting thing. Did anyone get that True Brand hat? I don't know if anyone got it. I'll say for me, and I don't want to speak for Kelly, but you know, when I did a hype video, they messaged me and they said, hey, you know, you got to get one of these hats. And I said, well, send me one and I'll be happy to promote it. Happy to wear the hat. I mean, right. We got this hat on.
Yeah.
And they did not send me one. So I'm under protest. And if they send Kelly and I a hat, we'll wear that hat. We'll promote it on the show and we'll show some love. So that's the Danucci and the rest of those guys. And he even dropped this, right?
Cowboys, and you're listening to my favorite Cowboys podcast, Tag Nation.
That was when
Can you dig it?
I mean, we got to work on the Can You Dig It? You got Gallimore doing the intro.
Yeah, we got to stick with Gallimore, man. Yeah, you know, that's the thing, man. Is that, you know, I had and shout out to these guys, man. They got some good T-shirts with that Twisted Gorilla. You know, they kind of reached out to me at one time. They're like, hey, man, we'll send you a T-shirt. Would you promote? Absolutely. But they didn't charge me for it. They sent it to me free of charge. And of course, I promoted it and took a picture and retweeted it and still give them shout outs for doing such. But yeah, True Brand. If you guys want to get a little exposure, you know, we can wear it, retweet it, put it on the show, and you know. Yeah.
Well, and the most important thing,
we're always looking to promote other people's brands. We'll promote your brand. You're promoting our brand. We're scratching our back. You're scratching. You know, it's back scratching.
Absolutely, and more importantly, for them, and I'll say it again, I'm not trying to, I don't want to be that guy that tells everyone how much he makes. You had that Twitter fight with that guy, but I'll be honest, and I would challenge some of these other people. You throw my hype video and you throw Kelly's, post game video in there. That's a lot of views. That's a lot of combined views. And
views.
You're sporting a True Brand hat on those rants. That's a lot of visibility and a lot of love you're getting from Cowboys Nation. So
hey, bring it.
Oh, absolutely. So, and then Cuts by Jones. We got our spot. So we're having fun, man. Like I said, this is the downtime. This thing gonna be rolling once the season starts. You better believe it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, we're just getting going.
We're just getting going. So last thing, and then we'll get you out of here because I know your vacation's getting going. So the hype video, I always like to ask people's opinion. People in the chat, let me know. Do you think I usually drop it, 48 hours before the game? So the bad thing with that is you got your Thursday game, and then so I would do it on Friday for the Sunday night, but I don't know if it's opening night. Do you think it should do it Thursday because it's opening football and drop it to make things go, or continue and just do it on a Friday? Any opinions?
Well, for the season opener, I mean, hell, I'd do it Thursday because then I would do it Thursday just because that's the official start of the NFL season. You know what I'm saying? So you can drop it then. You need to talk about, hey, it's opening night, and you kind of work that in the hype. I would just for opening. It's opening day basically in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know we don't play till Sunday, but that's what I do. I drop it Thursday, man. You probably because everybody's gonna be amped up to watch Thursday night football. It's the kickoff season, so people are gonna be amped up. So they're gonna be all over Twitter, and you're gonna get a lot. I feel like you get more traction doing it on a Thursday.
Get more try to steal some of their thunder, right?
Yeah, take thunder from whoever's playing on Thursday night. Yeah, steal that.
Kansas City and Detroit. Isn't that an odd
that's
one?
That's weird. It's a weird start for them. You know what I mean? If I was I was the NFL, I mean, I'd have done a Super Bowl rematch. I'd have done Philly and Kansas City to kick it off. You know what I mean?
And they play, right? They play that.
They play this year. They're playing each other. So that's what I would have started off with. I mean, what better game to start off than the last game we ended last year with is the first game we see this year. See where these two teams are at comparatively. You know what I mean? So that's what I would have done. But, you know, Kansas City and Detroit it is. I don't care, man. Football. It's Thursday night. I will be tuned in. It's
going to be good. So we got nothing else. We went through it. We're now the hard part is what the hell do we think of to do next week? That's the trouble until training camp starts.
I'm on vacation, so that onus is going to lie on you, and I will see what you come up with.
we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna figure something out. So hey, we like always, man. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, share. My eyes are watching, because I can see that we get a lot of views. We get a lot of views from new people, and then they continue on, and they're not hitting that subscribe button. So if I'm talking to you, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit the like. It helps the algorithms and helps us get a little bit more exposure. Absolutely. You know, we love doing this, man. You got to help Kelly and I out, right, Kelly?
Yeah. It's what's that line in Jerry Maguire? Help me, help you. Help me, help you. That's what we need. Show me the money.
Man. I just got bad news. The hat's not gonna. My victory hat is not gonna arrive until June 18th. The series is gonna be over.
Oh, geez, come on, Mark.
He pulled some sort of. He got it off the discount rack. I knew he was up to something.
Man, he went and got a Family Dollar hat, and he's gonna have it stitched over at some place up, and then it's gonna say Miami Heat, and it's gonna be all, man. Come on, Mark.
Oh, Mark. No, I appreciate it. But yeah, again, you guys have a great weekend. Absolutely. Enjoy it. You know, I'll be back. Jimmy's healthy. His son's everyone's healthy, so he's gonna be back on Monday. So we're gonna have some fun on Monday. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Heat victory. It's they're down 10 with 4 minutes to go, but now they're down 12. So the game's probably going to be over, but we'll see what happens. But hopefully, a Heat victory over the weekend, and then I'll think of something to do Thursday. And like I said, we'll go find some people to come in and help a brother out, because it's, you know, Kelly makes it easy. Hopefully, I make it easy for him. When you got a great tag team, it makes conversations go well. So that's right. We appreciate it. We will see you, Kelly. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your vacation. You're hanging out with Fred and Cuts by Jones, so you're in for it. We better see some pictures. We better get some videos. I want some drunk videos. I want all that good stuff.
All of it. All right, man. Well, Cowboys tuning in as always. We will see you next week.
All right, you guys take care, man. The Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?